You've got an Ibanez Tube Screamer. You've got an
Oh,
Overdrive
favorite pedal.
SG1, and then you've got your DS1 on there.
Yes.
And then the top left-hand corner, what's that pedal? It's like
let me just have a look at it, because I change my pedal board a lot.
There we go. If you have a look on the screen now, Ellen, you'll see it.
Oh, that's my Keeley compressor.
Oh,
that
right.
One it is. Yes. I actually got that in a trade, and I traded what was it? I can't remember what the pedal was, but it was I can't even remember it. Sorry. But anyway, I ended up trading it, and I was like, oh, I'll try this, and I just plugged it in, and I went, wow, this is what I need, and I never thought that, a pedal like that would be so important to, my board, but it's always on. It's, it's one of them pedals that is never off the board, that and the Tube Screamer and obviously the tuner, the Crybaby, they're never off the board. The other ones, I'm always swapping and changing their positions, because if you look at the actual board itself, that's actually wired totally different to how they're sitting. So where the first pedal is, it could be that's like right at the end, because I use these things. I've got one here because I met the company at NAMM, and they're called like a pedal pod. So it's like this thing here, and it's like everything runs from this in here, which it's like you can have like a pedal through loop 1 or loop 2, and it's like even if the pedal voltage is more, you can change it. So I run these, which means that like you can the company is actually called Pedal Pods. Great company. Rick and Jerry are great guys. Like I said, I met them at NAMM, and they were just like, do you need a new board? And I'm like, that's what I'm actually looking for. And they're like, when you get back to Australia, we'll chat. So when I got back, we started chatting, and they're like, we really want you to play one. And I'm like, well, I really like your idea, because these see how it's got the translucent plate? Underneath, it's actually got a light, and they light up. So you can probably see that from the picture. I don't know whether it's on there or not. Is it lit up?
No, it's not lit up.
Okay, it's not.
I can't see that it's lit up, but I was going to come on to that.
Okay. I beat you to
it. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you. It sounds like an ingenious idea, really.
It is.
Sounds like it would cut down on the bird's nest of wires underneath.
Yes. Well, in the company, one is very good with technology, and one's a guitarist. I think it's just a perfect blend, the two guys. So Rick's a great guitarist, and Jerry's very good with technology. So they were just telling me all about the pedal at NAMM, the pedal pods, and I had one there. And then when I got in touch with them, they actually built me my board and sent it over built, whereas normally you get it in pieces like this. So they gave me a couple of these just have to add. The reason why I like these boards is you can have it as long or as wide as you like, which is great, and it's just like, it's so simple. It's, as you can see, it's so like structured. It's so clean. There's no like, you can't even see the, the, what's it called? The Velcro at all. Cause it's so like, as you can see, I put like Velcro I use, and it just sits on there like that. And that's kind of how they look, which is really cool. So I use that, and ever since I got that pedal board, it's just like you just lift off these with the pedal and you just change them around. So you just unscrew them, and then you just change the position. So I do that all the time. So that photo has changed like a million times.
Oh, that sounds so cool. And how is it powered? How do you get power to?
So if you look where the what's called the Crybaby is, above it there's like no pedal. That they call the brain, and what that does is that powers all the pedals. So individually, it's actually got a power source for your pedal, right? And that powers your pedal, and then that's where obviously your pedal leads go into obviously your in and outs. But then these things here, you plug it in, and then they go to the brain, and that's what actually powers the pedal. It's actually a very ingenious idea. It's very good. So it's really good because there's no wires other than just what's plugged into the pedal. And even then, they were telling me an idea that they've got to even reduce that further. So I was like, okay, no worries. So that's fantastic. Very good, very great company.
Yeah, well, what we'll do is when we post the interview, we'll give them a plug and put some information up, because members in the group are always looking for new ideas.
Yes.
To try out things. So yes, we shall you know, create some awareness for them for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's a mini Crybaby, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you use the Crybaby much in your songs and things like that, or?
I do and I don't. So I did use it a lot when like I was soloing and stuff like that.
Mm,
But generally at the moment, no.
mm.
But I do use it obviously occasionally. I did have a full size Crybaby, and then I went, how can I add more room on my board to add another pedal? So then I was like, get rid of the big one and get the small one. But I love the small one because you've got that 3 preset where you can choose between like a vintage wah or a Jimi Hendrix one, I think the original.
Yeah.
So it's like you can choose which one. I'm like, oh, that's so good. You know, at least I can just switch between them as I need to. So
it sounds so cool. And the Spark Mini Boost, are you using that to as an EQ to create to add to your tone, or are you literally using it as a solo boost?
I'm actually using it as a solo boost. Because when I play because I do use that sometimes for my cover band, and it's like sometimes you need to like just step on it and get that boost. But I mainly bought it for that reason, you know, just to kind of, if I ever need a bit of extra volume, I just press it. I do press it more times probably than I should, but I just bought it because I was looking at getting the full size one, and then the mini popped up, and I'm like, perfect, because I can just put that near the tuner, because I've got the mini, the polytune. And I was like, I can put them on, and then I can have another room for my pedal, because I love having lots of pedals, because then it's like you can change things around and add, and you know what it's like with pedals, you just can't stop.
yeah, I'm exactly the same. I know I've got a member of the group called Nate Lopez. He's a professional guitarist, and he's a spectacular guitarist, such a talented and knowledgeable guy. But because he's on the road a lot when COVID's out of the way, when he's he's a professional musician, he's out on the road. So a board like that is a nightmare for him, because he needs it to be nice, light, and portable.
Exactly.
So he's very much into small pedals. We interviewed another hugely talented female guitarist called Jackie Taylor. And again, she's hopping from the UK to the Netherlands a lot. Her band Azray is in the Netherlands, and she needs something that she can just pop in hand luggage and take on the plane, and things like that. So people like Nate Lopez and Jackie Taylor, their approach to effects is very different to mine. When I'm playing local music venues, or if I go and play in Leeds or wherever it may be, so everything goes in my car. And I'm playing less frequently than someone like Nate Lopez. So the approach to pedals and effects is very, very different, But it sounds like you like the sort of mini pedal approach and the portability, and getting as many pedals as you can onto the board as possible.
I do have like a smaller board that I just to like grab and go. Which is it was just 4 pedals. So I did have this on it, but now I've got the TC Electronic, what's it called? Mojo on that one.
All right, yeah.
So I've got that on there as the overdrive. And then I just had just a reverb dewdrop. Yep. I had that one on there. I can't remember who that's by, but I had it on there. Oh, Mojo Hand Effect, that's what it's by.
All right.
And then, so then I had that on there, and then I actually just had like a compressor. That was it. It was just like so simple, but just like I can grab and just go. Like if I ever need to fly, it's just like chuck it on and go. So when I go to Sydney, I'm actually not taking any effects. I'll just take them singularly like this. Yeah. Just because in the studio, it's like you just bank them up just when you're there. But obviously when I play at the moment, I've been playing a lot in SA, and even in Australia, like, for me to drive to Melbourne, it's about 8 hours. So I can still chuck my stuff in the car and go. So it's not really like a huge deal. But obviously if I was flying somewhere with my big pedal board, it probably wouldn't be very good. No. It would cost me a fortune in shipping.
Absolutely. And with regards to guitarists, I mean, you mentioned Richie Sambora. Is there any other guitarists that you admire their use of effects? you know, maybe the Edge. I mean, the Edge from U2, he uses a lot of delay. And is there any sort of guitarists that you've thought, crikey, that their use of effects is really, really good?
To be honest, not really. Like, I've had a look at obviously what Richie, and he's mainly known for his talk box. So I do like that. Obviously, I actually never used one, but that was one thing that I went, wow, that's so cool, because that's so unique to obviously him, but he obviously looks up to people who use it as well. But the one thing that I did see was when I was at the concert with Keith, I saw his pedal racks. So I saw what he was using, and he had like a tube screamer in there, and he had a few other, he swaps and changes his pedals all the time. So I went, what's he using there, and what's he doing here? Like, I noticed for one song he was using a Crybaby wah or a Vox wah. It was one of them. Can't remember. He swaps and changes all the time because his pedal guy and his sound, his guitar tech, he was like,
Yeah.
every time he comes, he changes, and then he'll walk on the stage. So I don't know, I saw it that way, but to be honest, not really. I haven't actually looked at people using pedals. I kind of, when I do pedals, I kind of look at what I need, and I just, even so, I'll buy a pedal and go, oh, okay, I don't really like that for my sound, but I'll just, you know, and then later on I'll come back to it and go, yes, I like that now. And so I just put it in storage, and then I'll go back and get it. And so I swap and change a lot too. I'm a bit like him there.
And what did Keith's rig and setup look like? What was, you know, did his pedal collection, and what did it essentially look like? Was he got a number of amps? Was he running sort of 2-3 amps, something like that?
Well, he was running, from my knowledge, I think it was 2. He did have a Vox up there, but that was for, I think, Nathan, the guitarist. And he's like a keyboard player as well. But he was running a Blues Junior, which I was like, that's, you know, he was running that. And then he had a Marshall backstage too. He had just a Marshall head.
Yeah.
That's all I really saw. But other than that, effects wise, I definitely know he had a tube scream, because I was actually looking to buy one there. That's the one that caught my eye. But also his guitar rack was just like, you know, this vault, and it was just filled with all these guitars. Like, he had his Gibson there. He had his, what else was there? His Kelly, and it was like, play this, play that. I'm like, these guitars are worth more than anything I own. Like, what are you doing? You know? But like, it was just, the guitars were just awesome. Like, even, you probably know guitarist Sean Tubbs. Have you heard of him? Yes. Well, he was on tour with Carrie Underwood at that stage, and he was actually hanging around with his guitars. So he was like, try this PRS. So I got to play his PRS, his McPherson guitar, and it was like, this is really cool. Like, you know, and he was telling me all about these guitars and how he approaches his sound and things like that, which was really good. And he was such a nice guy. And yeah, I got to learn a lot from him and things like that, just from the little bit of time I spent with him. So he's probably one of my like influences after that show. Even before, I was very much into Carrie Underwood, and I was mainly watching him and the way he plays, because he's just a freak player. He's so good. He can play anything, I swear. And I was watching him, how he, you know, plays and and I noticed that he swaps and changes his pedal boards a lot, and his amps and things like that. So he's a very versatile guitarist in the way of tone and playing ability. So he's definitely an influence on me, though it happened later in my playing. But yeah, I do like his playing.
So you've got artist relations with Orange. You got an endorsement with DHS Strings. Is that correct?
GHS, yep.
Yeah. Any other endorsements that you've got at all, or?
I do have a couple. So I've got a guitar strap company who were actually the first ones to reach out. They were a company from Perth, so they're in WA, here in Australia. And I was actually looking at buying one of their straps. I reached out and went, I really like your fastball strap. That's what the strap's called. And they're like, look, we want to send you one. And then after that, it just kind of snowballed into like this endorsement opportunity. I've actually got one of the straps here that I use. This one's just got my logo kind of endorsed on it. But it's just like, it's an old leather strap. But this isn't the fastball. I'm actually pretty well known for the fastball strap, which is like a baseball, it looks like. Really cool. You've probably seen photos of me using it. But this is just one that I like to use. It's just obviously plain black. It's comfortable. So this was the first endorsement that I ever got. And then I had a company from the Netherlands contact me, and they do picks, which they're called chicken picks.
Right.
You've probably heard of them. And so they reached out and they were like, look, we found you online. Do you want to try these picks? We want to send you some. And I started using them and I was like, yeah, these are cool, these are cool, these are cool. And then about a month or two later, they're like, how do you find the picks? I'm like, they're the best thing ever, because I couldn't go back to thin picks. Then I went to these thick picks, because you don't get that like snap of the the plastic kind of picks. It's really cool, and it's just so comfortable to use these chicken picks. I'm like, I really like them. They're like, can we put you on our, endorse you and all that? So that's fine. I said, I'm happy for that, and then so I got GHS, obviously, and I have got one other one in the pipe works at the moment, but I can't actually say anything yet.
Okay.
Until the release is out,
Yeah.
hopefully next year, which sucks. But as soon as I obviously can say anything, I'll let you know, which is with a major company, so I'm pretty happy. So yeah,
Brilliant.
excited.
Brilliant. Oh, great. It sounds like you've got lots going on.